Hey, what's going on? I'd like to welcome you all to Water Your Soil. So this video right here, this is going to be an important video because oftentimes I'll come across videos and it talks about 800 credit scores and the benefits of having an 800 credit scores. Well, what about the downside to having an 800 credit score? As someone with an 800 credit score, I'm going to talk to you about the cons and the downside of having an 800 credit score. I think you all should know. So you want to watch this video, right? I'm about to get into it. Let's go. So I'm assuming that you decided to click on this video because you're curious about an 800 credit score. In fact, majority of you probably desire to have an 800 credit score. Although there are some people, they don't even want to get to the 800s for certain reasons, but that's their business. But I will tell you, as someone with an 800 credit score, of course, you hear about the pros, you hear about, the high credit limits that some people get. I said some because everyone with an 800 credit score doesn't have high credit limits on their credit cards. And I'll talk about that in another video. However, you hear about that. You hear about the low interest rates. You hear about getting approved for just about any credit cards you want. You hear about lower mortgages than people with lower credit scores. You hear about a lot of positive things when it comes to an 800 credit score, which are great. It's a good thing to try to accomplish an 800 credit score. And if you have accomplished it, those of you out there, if you have accomplished the 800 credit score, you understand the benefits is deeper than bragging rights. It's much deeper than walking around telling everyone I have an 800 credit score. It's more about the comfort and the breathing room that comes along with it, because that breathing room, and what I mean by breathing room is it gives you the ability to apply for extra lines of credit or loans or credit cards, whatever it may be, and you'll still have excellent or good credit. So that's the breathing room that I'm referring to when it comes to having a credit score that's in the 800s. But rarely do I hear people talk about the cons. And I'm someone who believes that there are pros and cons in just about everything in life. And credit scores are included. There are some cons that are involved with having an 800 credit score. And I'm going to tell you those cons are more mental than anything else. But it is something that you may deal with once you reach the 800 credit score. Now, I'll share my story with you because there are some people who are watching this video who are new to seeing me and new to, my channel. So I have to explain how I got to an 800 credit score. Well, it was back in 2014, late 2014, 2015. And, I got rejected at the dealership for a car. I ended up getting the car, had to return the car, and that started my credit journey, all right? So throughout the years, I was working on building up my credit score. I finally reached an 800 credit score back in 2018. And from 2018 to now, my credit score bounced between that 800 and 839. 839 was the highest my credit score ever got. Prior to the 839, the highest that it got was an 838. So I never hit 850. I never was a fan of hitting an 850 credit score. And this video and what I'm going to explain in this video will help you understand why I really didn't want to hit an 850 credit score. So being in the 800s, a lot of people, they talk about the positives, which it is, I'll talk about it myself real quick. Being able to know that when you apply for a credit card and you're going to get approved for just about any credit card you apply for, or whether it's a home loan or a personal loan, auto loan, whatever it may be, just to know that you have that comfort of not having to stress and worry, because there's a high possibility. And when I say high, I mean a very high possibility of you getting approved for whatever you apply for when you have excellent credit score in the 800s, as long as your income and everything else adds up and measures up. But there are the pros, but I want to talk about the cons as well. And the first thing that's a con is, yes, you have breathing room, but subconsciously, you don't really want to do a lot when it comes to having an 800 credit score. And I'm sure some people with an 800 credit score can relate to me, because you're so worried about your score dropping. The 800 credit score and being in the 800s does become addictive. And I'll say it becomes addictive because you're so used to getting approved for everything that you apply for that you don't want to lose that. You don't want to miss out on that. So sometimes for some people, and I experienced this early on in my journey, I don't experience it anymore, but I experienced it early on. You are a little apprehensive when it comes to applying for things like new lines of credit and credit cards. Some people don't care. And I'm sure there are some of you out there who are in the 800s and you don't care. You're going to apply regardless. You like, if I go down to the 700s, I don't care as long as I use my credit score for leverage, which you're supposed to do. You're not just supposed to have the 800 credit score just for bragging rights and just to sit on it. I wouldn't advise anyone to just sit on an 800 credit score. Use your 800 credit score to become better, to add more lines of credit, or to help your business, start a business, whatever it is. Just get the most out of having the 800 credit score. Now, some people, they don't want anything. So once they reach the 800s, they're fine with that, which is okay. But for my advice to you, I would advise you to get the most out of having a credit score that's in the 800s. Take advantage of it, use that because you worked hard to get there. So use it and reap the rewards of having it. But subconsciously, it does affect you sometimes with deciding, I don't want to apply for this because it's going to hurt my credit score. So that's one thing, the whole mentality of being a little paranoid about applying for new things and new lines of credit. Another thing is your utilization. And I know I talk to other people with 800 credit scores in groups and stuff and forums, and they have that paranoia as well as far as utilization. They don't usually want to spend as much because they don't want it to drop their score. So you're noticing the trend here. People can become very cautious and paranoid when reaching the 800s. As I stated, it's something that I went through when I first reached the 800s. I wanted to just keep my perfect 800 and just keep it and not do anything. And after a while, I'll say after maybe like 6 months or so, I realized, I said, I have to use this 800 credit score and the score that's in the 800s in order to improve. And another thing that I use the 800 for is also to teach myself more about how credit scoring works. It was a great thing to learn in the 800s, having my score bounce from 838 all the way down to 800 and in between, because I learned different things during that process. I was able to learn what hurts my score, what helps my score from that perspective of in the 800s, because I knew how it worked in the 500s. I knew how it worked in the 600s, and I knew how it worked in the 700s because I've been to all of those places. But I needed to know how it works in the 800s. And if you're going to help people with improving their credit score, you need to be well versed and help people at all levels. So it was very important for me to learn and know how your score can and will fluctuate when it's in the 800s, because that's considered exceptional credit, but your score will still bounce up and down when you're in those 800s, and you need to know what's going to affect your score. So the downsides are just about all mental, There's really no downsides in my opinion. This is my opinion, by the way. There are really no downsides when it comes to, getting approved for certain things and things of that nature. But the mental downside, the having you hesitant and paranoid as far as not wanting to fully get the most out of your credit, that's a big time downside, because it does keep some people from growing and adding extra accounts or making certain moves that they need to make. Maybe it's applying for business credit and using their personal credit in order to get their business credit started, or using their personal credit in order to get more credit cards, or whatever it may be, a personal loan. It doesn't matter what it is, or even a mortgage. There are some people who are hesitant to get a mortgage. They have 800 credit scores and they're hesitant to go and apply for a mortgage because they don't want their credit score to drop out of the 800s. This is something that's not talked about often, but it's definitely something that does affect people from a mental standpoint. And I've felt the need to make this video as someone who has a credit score with experience at an 800 on the dot. Isn't that something? I felt the need to make this video to let you all know there are some downsides that come along with having exceptional credit or 800 credit scores. So I wanted to make this video. I have other videos. If you want the full story on my credit score journey, be sure to check out the video in the thumbnail. That's also my video. That's the main video on my homepage on this YouTube channel for Water Your Soil. But anyways, I have other videos regarding credit cards, reviews. I'm gonna have some nice reviews coming up soon. So I appreciate you all for checking out my channel. Be sure to hit the like button if this video has helped you out in any kind of way. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're feeling the vibe over here. But anyways, this is Water Your Soil. I appreciate you all for stopping by, all right? I'm out. Hold on. Wait. Before you leave, be sure to check out the description box below. That way you can have all the credit resources from Water Your Soil. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button as well, all right?